The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace.
What do we have going on? We do have a new mRNA vax that's being pushed by the Trump team.
Well, I don't know if he's pushing it or he's pushing it through.
He's pushing it through. He's pushing to get it fast tracked like COVID was. And it's bird flu. I just don't, which is depressing to me. I really thought after all the COVID backlash that he got that he would not do that, but
yeah, I saw a video where there was this, what's his name? Last name of Rich. He's a country western singer. And
John Rich. I
saw. Did you see that video?
Yeah, you may have sent
that was good. Maybe I did, because I was just like, yay, somebody has actually told him, because I do feel he's out of the loop. He doesn't understand. I don't know if it was everything he said was spot on, but I don't know that he tied the mRNA thing with it.
I doubt John Rich did. I think John presented it more our freedoms, this equated into mandating this toxic shot going into people's bodies and taking away our freedoms. But Trump's not sciencey. So I think he thinks he's doing something really positive for society, but I just don't get why he would push through a bird flu vaccination as if because they're planning the next pandemic, right? Like, I don't know.
Right. It didn't go well last time. He should have taken that away, but yeah. I've heard some podcasts really coming out against him, and, will we ever fully be on board with him with the shots, vaccines, whatever they want to call them, jabs. I don't think people are going to trust it. So, and they were like, as far as negotiating and financial and military, they're like all on board with him. This is one arena I think that he's not informed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of it is because of the people around him are not informing him or keeping information from him, which is not good either.
But I can't imagine RFK would be keeping information from him on this. This is his playground. This is what he fights against so hard. And HHS is part of the fast track of this new vaccine.
Interesting. I don't know. I think all I can say is we may have to let it play out and see what happens. But I think a lot less people will be inclined. Yeah, I don't think he even really fully understands that. I don't think we have a pandemic, and I don't think that there is an issue. And, because I haven't heard a whole lot either about, people dropping from bird flu.
I've heard of a handful of cases and everyone lived. Like,
right.
So, but yeah. So yeah, I'm a little.
Yeah, that's.
I have some questions on Trump's true loyalty to the American public that voted for him if he's going to push something like this through. And God forbid they create another pandemic that tries to force that vaccine on people, which I know he didn't do initially. I realize that, but he was the one who touted and continues to tout how fast he got that vaccine pushed. So
right, and I do understand some pieces around that aspect. Not saying that we give him a pass. He does feel like he did something really good because he got that out there, and I do believe that some people felt like for the world to be okay again, they needed to take a jab. They just did.
Yeah.
And so I think that him pushing that out there helped some people. And I do wonder what was in it in the beginning. And I do wonder, was Johnson & Johnson a problem? They really, Pfizer and Moderna pushed them out of the way quickly. Okay. They were not mRNA. All right. So I do wonder, because that one went away when Biden came in.
I never realized that. And
Yeah.
so you're
So
saying
Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson's vaccine did not have mRNA in it?
I don't believe so. I
Oh.
think that we need to look at that, but I don't believe so. I don't believe it did. So, and the other thing is that because it got pushed out there so quickly with Biden coming in, they weren't allowed, or they weren't capable of shutting down the world until everything was tested, which we know from all the vaccines that have gone on with childhood vaccines, et cetera. They don't do whatever it is, 7 years of testing or anything like that. They push it out, which they did.
Yeah.
They pushed it out. And so
Just
the world would have probably been shut down by them, saying that we couldn't do anything because, you know, people were going to die and blah, blah, blah.
Johnson & Johnson did not have mRNA in their vaccine.
But,
So
and they got pushed out very quickly in the beginning.
Yeah. Johnson, unlike Pfizer, BioNTech vaccine and Moderna vaccine, which are mRNA-based vaccines, the new Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is based on the development and production of adenovirus vectors. This vaccine is developed by Belgian company Janssen Pharmaceuticals, which is owned by Johnson & Johnson. The Janssen COVID-19 vaccine is based on viral vector technology, which uses a genetically modified adenovirus to carry the gene for making spike proteins of the novel coronavirus. The virus has been altered so that it cannot harm the body. The vaccine claims to be equally effective as Pfizer and Moderna vaccines in terms of deaths and hospitalizations.
Well, that might not be a high hurdle because the other ones were not very effective. So I don't know. You know, is it a good one or not? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It's interesting that you pointed that out, though, because they didn't have the mRNA in their vaccine, and now they're not part of the public protocol.
Right. And the mRNA is what's changing people's genes.
Yes.
So we do not want our genes changed at all.
Right.
But, and I believe that, I don't know, because we didn't have the conversations because they didn't want to talk to me about it, but I believe my oldest did take Johnson & Johnson because it was only one shot.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, right?
They didn't
so it was only one shot.
Them, did they?
They didn't have a second shot that they had to take. And I don't know that there were boosters or not. So that's where a lot of the issue came in too, was all the boosters, because they were re-inoculating people with, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Scariness.
Yeah.
Really scary. So yeah, no, I agree. Not thrilled with what's happening with bird flu. See what happens. Let's see how it plays out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that we shouldn't raise our voices, because we should raise our voices to make, you know, hopefully it'll get back to him that, yeah, we don't want this.
Yeah. I
we
mean,
don't want to go down the same path again.
This bird flu vaccine is an mRNA. I mean, that is how it is being treated, how it's being created as an mRNA vaccine.
Yeah. So Dr. Peter McCulloch, you know who he is? He's actually coming to Lake Mary next Wednesday. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh, cool.
So I have a client right in the middle of when he'll be here, because I think it's 1 to 3. Why Lake Mary? I don't know, but I'm hoping just to get over there for
a bit. Go listen. I'd be curious to see if he says anything about this experimental vaccine that they're working on.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably not happy about that either.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the most concerning political thing that I think is going on in the country right now, is that vaccine. Everything else, the tariffs are, Tyler said last week that the market had a pretty big, week before last, the market started to have the uptick shift. And then he found this guy that he just loves, and we watched this funny video of the tariff, you know, the stock market doing literally the peaks and valleys through the tariff stairs. So funny, but yeah, that's working itself out. So
I think it has to work itself out, and I think it's probably also just the market's being manipulated. They want Trump to look so bad that I had heard one point where they want the market to crash so they can get rid of him. And I'm like,
what? That doesn't make
people aren't going to get rid of him because of, no.
No.
So, but they'll blame it all on tariffs. But the tariffs are still not equal 1-to-1.
Oh, no,
It's not come to that point. He met them in the middle a little bit to, ease into it. But
he actually came in at half of what most of the other countries are tariffing us across the board, except China, which I read the other day. We're currently at, I think, 245% tariffs on China right now, except Apple. Apple products are exempt from tariffs.
Well, Apple's supposed to be coming over and
some of their production
here
will come over, but we had watched a funny video last night about Apple having India start exporting a ton of their products that they make there, because they make iPhones in India too, to get them shipped over here because of the tariffs on China. And then Trump negotiated with China and Apple that they would be exempt from the tariffs. So it's like, oh, we just spent all this money packing up all these phones in India to send them over here, and now we're fine. So
I mean, yeah, he's amazing with the negotiation and
gosh, yes,
money and all of that. So let's wait and watch. I think with the vax the shot jab for bird flu, Bobby Kennedy will probably come in and say, look,
I'm really surprised I haven't seen anything yet, because this announcement, I saw this announcement earlier this week, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of alternative health people that are good friends with Bobby Kennedy, and I have no doubt that they will be speaking in his ear. So I can't imagine why Casey and Callie Means would not be.
Yeah.
Speaking into RFK Jr.'s ear, and they had Trump's ear before.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not about the jabs.
Yeah.
So I hope that they can get close enough to talk to him and explain.
I think yes, I hope so, because the thing that really bugs me the most is that HHS is pushing this vaccine.
Yeah, that is very bothersome. That is very bothersome. I've been so heads down that I had not even seen that this week. So you'll have to send me that and we'll put it in here. But that interview also with what's his face, Rich, we'll have to drop that in also to show people what he's been told, because he didn't know.
Yes.
I think he's so sheltered that, I mean, I can't imagine. There's so much going on in all the different arenas. He has to trust some people to do things, and and we'll have to watch RFK Jr. on that one, I think.
I know. I will do some research and find some links, because I really do want to make sure that we cover all those bases in the notes section, the show notes section, so people have some references, because it is really new. And I have only done a tiny bit of research, but it is something that has been weighing heavy on my mind since I saw it earlier this week. Yeah. Especially the HHS involvement. That just
that blows my mind too. And this is where we've got to pray that the right people can get to President Trump and explain, and to Bobby Kennedy Jr. this is going on, and the people will not be behind this. It doesn't matter if you give us choice, which I have a feeling they will give us choice, but there's going to be people that are going to take it and potentially be hurt more. Because there are a lot of people dying from what happened with the jabs and or having serious health issues. You don't have to look far for that.
Right. I was just in a meeting this past Tuesday, and a man was talking about his wife passing away, and to relate to the man whose wife passed away, the woman who was heading up the meeting talked about her grandson, who was 21, dropped dead of a heart problem, And the man whose wife passed away looked at her and said, "Did he get the COVID shot?" She said, "Yes." And we know the problems that it caused. So why would we ever believe that this new mRNA that they're trying to push through would not create the same havoc on a young population?
Exactly. And I do wonder, the last time it was very mandated basically by Biden's group and Fauci, and, it was safe and effective, and we don't want grandma to get hurt and blah, 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 blah. There might be enough of the people that follow Trump that are going to be like, yeah, no way, I wouldn't do that. And then we've got the other group that has TDS, or Trump derangement syndrome, that's going to be like, I'm not taking anything that he puts his name on. Well, so now there's very few people that would be actually probably taking it.
Right. But they said the same thing when Trump pushed the vaccine to begin with. When he did warp speed, Kamala Harris and all of them said they would never take a vaccine that he put forward. And then they got into office and forced people to take it or lose their.
Well, it was okay. It's weird because they were like, it's okay now that they're in office and they're saying it's good and safe and effective, so we'll take it, forgetting that Trump was pushing this through.
That's my point. The short memory loss that people seem to have is, because no one remembered Kamala saying she would never take a vaccine that Trump pushed through.
Right.
When she was in office telling everybody they need to get vaccinated. So
there you go. Yeah, no, it's true. So I don't know. We'll see, because we're now at the beginning of a Trump presidency as opposed to the very end.
That's true. So
let's,
we'll see what happens.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We just,
it's just
prayers and speaking out.
Yeah, definitely speaking out. Definitely prayers. It just being so early in his second term blew my mind. And then, of course, like I've said many times already, the HHS involvement with RFK running that department just is shocking. So, and I will put
shocking
links to all of that in for you, because
we need to.
We'll have to monitor this and talk about it when new information comes out, because it's a little shocking.
Absolutely, it is a little shocking. It is. Well, it's a lot shocking, actually. So,
yeah.
So, yeah. I know. It's just,
I will say this, and Sheri's probably very well versed in this and could help anyone out there who has had the COVID shot. There is a protocol that you can follow that is holistic, that will help flush the spike proteins out of your body, even still today, if you had that shot. So if we come across a situation again, like we had with COVID, where you feel obligated or you could lose your job, and you have to get it, there is a protocol. And I would highly recommend that you go to Sheri's website if you're worried about that, and have her help you.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And what I've heard too is that none of us are safe from the spike protein, because we're coming in contact with people that have had it. We don't even know who's had it or not. And it does jump the people. They have proven that. So none of us are really safe from it per se. We probably all really need to be detoxing period every day.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's just, I did the presentation today. We need to honor our bodies for God. Our body was not just, given to us. We've got to honor our bodies, and what we put into them matters. So eating real foods, drinking, good filtered water to help get rid of this. So your body's not fighting, the inflammatory foods, inflammatory water, because it could be, depending upon what's in it. Your body can then fight with the immune system, with a stronger immune system.
Yeah.
Just remember.
Yeah.
Our bodies were made very forgiving. They really were.
They were.
So know that, and take care of them.
God is miraculous in his healing powers. Oh, I need to give a
Absolutely.
shout out to Sheri. So, if you have watched our podcast for any length of time, you know that we have talked on a couple of occasions about fluoride in the water. And Sheri, we did not record last week because Sheri had a massive victory in her community. Would you please share with everyone what you've been fighting for the last however many years?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Our county had a meeting and they finally, fluoride was on the agenda, but it was for the county manager to come and speak. And he was just going to give a report. There was not going to be any vote or anything on it. When my husband and I were walking into the meeting, this busload pulls up and off gets 30 plus people. And I'm like, are they having a field trip here? Because they were all older. And I'm like, coming to see how the Board of County Commissioners works? I don't know. But they filed in and they went in and they started signing up to speak. And I'm like, what the heck? Because I was like, I think they oppose this, us, and want to keep fluoride because we did not want to keep fluoride. And there was a local convention for the ADA, or American Dental Association, and they bussed people in to speak. Well, the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners caught wind of that and was not very happy about it. And so after the county manager spoke, they gave us 3 minutes of time each to speak, and we only had an hour. And there was a lot of people signed up to vote or to speak for or against fluoride. And all these people kept getting up, and there were people that were there from out of state because they were here for the convention and they were speaking against fluoride. And finally, the chairman said, look, we want to hear from the people who live in Seminole County. How many people are left? Because there's like 10 minutes left on speaking. How many people are actually left that live in the county? We want to hear from them because those are the people that matter. And I'm like, yay, because I hadn't spoken yet. And Justin, who's been very instrumental in the whole state removing fluoride, and has been, Miami-Dade, okay, huge county, said, we don't want fluoride anymore. And I'm like, that's amazing, right? And so Justin and I each got to speak, and then this guy that was a dentist from the ADA, big dude guy, person, spoke, and that was it. That was the end of it. And one of the county commissioners said, you know what? Or he says, well, we have all these people here that came and we need to hear them speak. Well, the people that were left, there was like, I think 10 more people to speak, and they were all from the ADA. And this one of the commissioners said, I don't think there's anything that anybody could say at this point in time. We've gotten hundreds of thousands of emails over the years on fluoride, and I don't think there's anything that could be said. I motion we take a vote right now on whether to keep fluoride or not. And we knew we had 3 people out of 5, so we knew we had a majority. And so one of the other ladies who we weren't sure about, she said, I second the motion. And they took the vote, and it was 4-1.
Woo-hoo.
The one guy who wanted all the people from the ADA to be able to speak that didn't even live here, so I was just, it was a huge victory for removing fluoride in our county, which is like 1/3 of the population of our county. But also for our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners to say, no, we want to hear from our people. That was huge. That was really huge. So it's a double win, and it was amazing.
I love it.
And right now, coming through, and I heard it moved again, and I like I said, I've been kind of out of it, but there is a bill coming through at the state level that may make it a moot point, and they have to get rid of it. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Because enough people are speaking. There's so many places that are saying no more.
So just proof in the pudding that it starts at your local government, and that's how word spreads.
Absolutely.
And you just get involved and you start pushing your health agenda. Obviously, we want to be healthy for as long as we possibly can. And if you're not familiar with Sheri's talk on fluoride, we will put a link to her She's got a blog about it, and she's got a video that we can put a link to where you can actually see her share information on that. But this is just, this is where we're at. And now when we see things like these new mRNA vaccines being pushed through on a fast track, and we know what the original one did with COVID to the health of the elderly and the young, and then we see, just what can happen in small government when you push. It is important to have a voice, whatever your stance, whether it's pro or against. Obviously, we have the pro bodily autonomy where we can eat and drink things that we know are healthy for our bodies. Exactly. Whatever your stance is, it is important that you have a voice, but have a voice in your own government. Don't go across your state border or your county border and try and manipulate somebody else's politics and their rights for what they want. Do it in your own hometown. That's where your voice can be the loudest.
Yeah. Well, that, and it doesn't matter whether it's fluoride or something else. What are you passionate about? What do you want to see change? That's what you need to go speak about. Yeah. And get a group of people together, because it is powerful. Yeah. I have over 50 people that are on my email list, and I had a good turnout from them. Probably at least 20% of them that came out. Some spoke, some didn't, but they were there in support of removing fluoride, and that's what was important. So, yeah. But I mean, even at the national level, with removing red dye, from the food. That was at the national level. So, get involved. Get involved with what you're passionate about, because your passion is what's going to help drive other people to be passionate with you and make things happen.
All right. That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast and that something struck your nerve and makes you want to become active in your community and even at the national level if you have that push. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with everyone you know and love. Again, we will have all the links for everything that we discussed in the show notes below. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let us know in the comment section, or you can email us and we'll put our email address in there as well. Again, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for some comic relief at the end of this podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
On the all-new Monday Countdown podcast, Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, and Tom Homan, the head of ICE, must be arrested immediately for contempt of court. They are defying court orders to return Mr. Abrego Garcia from captivity and torture in El Salvador. And they and Trump are on the verge of being in contempt of court of the Supreme Court, as Trump begins to indicate he will not abide by its rulings about returning Abrego to this country. It is time to teach the Trump administration a lesson.